Hi everyone, how are you? Good to be back. So my name is Susan Turner and my YouTube channel is Susan the Trainer KE. If you haven't subscribed, please do. Share with a friend, a colleague, a family member. So share, tell them to subscribe. You can like, you can drop your comment. So thank you so much. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Good to be back for this other one. So today we are talking about your personal net worth. You know, as companies will say like, okay, the company is worth a certain amount of money, maybe 20 billion. There is their maybe asset base, for example, or that is how strong the balance sheet is. But as an individual, I want you to talk about your personal net worth. In summary, in layman's language, we are saying net worth is more of how much you own, how much you own. There is the assets that have value, the things that you possess that have value, less what you owe. There is the liabilities. So how much like is entitled to people. So there is your net worth. And let me say your net worth can be negative or positive depending on where you are at in life right now. So let's take a look on it. So we are saying personal net worth measures how much you are worth by subtracting your liabilities from your assets. In this case, when we're talking about assets, we're talking about assets that have value. And I'd like to challenge you, like when you're looking at the value of your asset, look at the market value, the first value. Ask yourself, for example, if maybe you own home theater, if you are to dispose it, maybe you bought it at 80,000, but if you are to dispose it, if somebody is to buy it at a first value, how much are they willing to pay for it? Is it 30,000? Is it 40,000? So that is the current value that you need to attach while working at your net worth. So you know, like there's some assets that appreciate in value. For example, maybe you bought land and now it has appreciated. Ask yourself, if I'm to sell this land, how much is it going to be bought for? So attach the current value to assets that are appreciating. And for those who own cars, you know that if at all you stayed with the car, it's depreciating in value. So look at how much the value, there is the market value after depreciation, because cars lose value. So we have assets that increase in value with time, and we have assets that lose values in time. So today I want you to think about your assets, what you own. What do you own as an individual? Maybe as Susan, I'll say I own property A, B, C, D, and I have liabilities A, B, C, D. So how much do you own? What is the value of the things that you own? Today, I want you, after this podcast, you sit down and do a calculation. List down all your assets and their estimated value. It may not be the correct market value, but ask yourself, if I was to buy this second-hand car, how much will I buy it for? How much is it going? What is the market value of it? I want you to remember that it doesn't matter how much you make and how much you save. If your net worth is not going up or it's not growing, then there's nothing you are doing. And also, I know some of us are in debt. We are living from hand to mouth, and maybe things are not so good. So maybe you've been so much into debt, the liabilities are so much. It's okay to start with the net worth, which is negative. And what I want to challenge you is net worth can be calculated periodically. Ask yourself, right now it is November 2021. So calculate your assets, list down all the assets that you own, and then list down all the liabilities as of now. If it is negative, for example, you have calculated and it is negative 200, set a target that I want my net worth to move from negative 200 to negative 150 in the next 1 month. That means that it's either you increase your assets and decrease your liabilities. That is how you can move from a negative. And at times you can be having an already positive net worth, but I'll encourage you to keep growing it. If maybe your net worth is at positive 700,000, see how you can push it forward. So that can be one way you can be tracking how you are growing your net worth. So let me give you just a rough example. For example, if you are to calculate, for example, in terms of your assets, let's talk about, assuming you have, let's do for a rough example, maybe you have cash of 100,000 in the bank or at hand, And then maybe in terms of also liquid assets, maybe you've saved in the short-term money market fund. So maybe your total cash in hand and in bank is 100,000. Maybe you have a plot that you bought it at 250,000, but right now the market value is 300,000. We'll put the value as 300,000. Maybe you own a motorbike and its market value is roughly 90,000. Maybe you have deposits in a SACCO, you've been saving in a SACCO, maybe roughly 160,000. And maybe you have pension fund, for example, you've been saving in a pension scheme, maybe your savings are worth 40,000. So in total of what we have discussed, what you own is roughly 690,000. There is the cash, the plot, the motorbike, the SACCO deposits, and the pension. Then you look at, this is just a high level, but you can go as detailed as possible to list all your assets. Then what you owe, your liabilities. So maybe you have mobile loans. Maybe you have Fuliza of 10,000. You have Mshwari 15,000. You have, Tala 25,000. So in total, you have mobile loans of 50,000. Maybe you have a SACCO loan of 350,000, because you know SACCOs will be given 3 times your deposit. So maybe a SACCO loan is at 350,000. Maybe you have credit card. You got from your bank a credit card. Maybe you have a debt of 20,000. You have other personal debts. Maybe debts from friends, like you owe friends. Maybe you copied money you ask them for money, maybe to do 1, 2, 3. Assuming all your personal debts are at 70,000. Maybe you have a bank loan of, let's say, 300,000. So we see all your liabilities. What you owe people or other financial institutions is 790,000. In this case, when you look at your assets, what you own is 690,000, and what you owe is 700. What you owe people is 790,000. So it means when you take your assets 690,000 less 790,000, it means your net worth is negative 100,000. So, do you like what you're seeing? You need to be as honest as possible and don't ignore any debts. Remember, when talking about debt management, we said list all the debts. So in this case, list all the debts. If you have household items, you can just value them. If it's sofa set, you can value them and say maybe my sofa sets are worth this amount if I'm to dispose them today. So do a listing of your net, of all your assets and all your liabilities. What you own versus what you owe. Assuming you've owned something jointly, then it means maybe it's a partnerships business, or so it means the assets will be equally divided. Or maybe you own with your spouse a plot, for example. So depending on how you came into the transaction, it's equally, maybe you put it at half the price, assuming you have to dispose it and share out. So calculate what you own less what you owe. From that feedback, don't be scared even if it's negative. Then put a timeline, like maybe right now we are in November. I want by end of December my net worth to have moved from negative 100 to negative 50,000. So it means you are moving towards the positive direction. So you need to think about, how can I move? How can I reduce the debts? And then you can go back to the debt management strategy, or how can I generate more income to boost my cash reserves so that my incomes and my assets and what I owe can be higher. So this is more of a challenge, and I say personal finances is more of you being intentional. Sit down, do the calculation. In as much as it can be scary, I know it is still good for you to calculate and move towards the right direction, and it can help even if you're doing the 2022 goal setting as an individual. It will be very helpful. So thank you so much. Have a nice time. Share, subscribe. If this has been of help to you, please, I'll be happy to get your feedback. Until next time, bye. Thank you.